Hello, Tuscaloosa. Welcome to Todd 100.9. You're listening to the Stingray Show. Today's a very special show. We got a former freshman All American, an All SEC performer, and also he had a very long and distinguished career in the NFL. None other than Mario Haggan. Super Mario is going to join us here on this edition of the Stingray Show, and I can promise you, you don't want to miss it.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Those of you on Tide 100.9, look out. You're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee.
You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate
No,
that.
I mean, look, no.
Hey, Stingray, here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good. It's kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah. But then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, to everyone in Tuscaloosa listening here on Tide 100.9, with the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
This is Stingray, host of the Stingray Show, reminding you if you like our content and you like our episodes, wherever you are listening to this from, whether it be YouTube or on Spotify, make sure you subscribe to our content for all of the latest information and latest episodes. And without further ado, here is another great episode, so enjoy and continue listening.
And with that, welcome to the Stingray Show. I'm your host, Heath Hopkins. Here, I'm going to welcome you, my co-host, some guy named Stephen Ray. Stingray, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, man. So what I want to do real quick is to let everybody know that you are going to be here for the first segment, but
Right.
you have got to duck out. So I'm going to be sitting here quietly in the corner for the first segment. So without further ado, since you've got to bolt out of here, take it away, my friend.
Hey, our guest today is none other than Super Mario Haggan, former linebacker for Mississippi State, had a very long career in the NFL, and he is coming on to join us today. We're going to talk all the things SEC, media days, NFL, what's he doing now, a little bit of everything and above. So with that, hey, welcome our guest, Super Mario Haggan. Mario, how are you today, sir?
What's going on, Heath, man? Just hanging out here at the house with the Texas sun glaring in my face, man. One of the better days here in this summer.
And what part of Texas are you at?
I'm currently located in Dallas, Texas.
Okay, wonderful. And if I'm not mistaken, you grew up in Clarksville, right? Or Clarksdale, Tennessee, or Clarksdale, Mississippi, excuse me.
Hey, man, you're going to make me get the guns out early, Clarksville, and then putting me in Tennessee. It is Clarksdale, Mississippi, the best city in the Mississippi Delta where the best football players come from.
You're absolutely right. I'm not going to argue that point for a second. Now, Mario, we had classes together at Mississippi State. I don't want to say we were buds or friends, but we did have a couple of classes. We shared a couple of laughs over the years, and it's so great to have you on the show. And so usually we kind of go chronologically from high school and recruiting and your time at Mississippi State, then going to the NFL and what you're doing now. But today it's going to be a little bit all over the place. With that, I want to start the show off with the craziest question or the craziest situation. You were playing on that Denver Bronco team when y'all had all the crazy comebacks that year with one Tim Tebow. And if I remember correctly, there was a picture or a video of y'all. I believe you gave Timmy a kiss on the cheek. I don't know if it was at practice or after a game or something, but I remember that picture made the rounds. What was that season like? Because I remember, if I'm not mistaken, you had one game where you intercepted a ball and ran it back. I think maybe Minnesota, maybe. I want to say it was indoors, and you would probably have a better memory than I would on this one. But I believe your interception and touchdown, or you either took it down to the goal line or scored a touchdown, but that was kind of the outcome of the game. But what do you remember about that game and that season?
Well, that season, I guess, the Tim Tebow hype is real. All right. And
Right.
It is real. It was amazing, actually, because not only because of the win, but I had never seen a following. I had never seen people just stick to or gravitate to one guy like they did Tim Tebow. Listen, let me tell you guys. Listen, rock star status.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely rock star status. I mean, we come out of a game where we're going into the stadium, and there are people from across the world selling out the stadium to see Tim Tebow. I mean, we're walking through, we got celebrities, we have girls, just pulling it out. Tim, marry me. Tim, you can have the twins. I mean, it was just unfreaking believable. And so that season was something of a magic, man. And those comeback wins. Now, here's what I will tell you, and not to take much from Tim Tebow. Obviously, we know the guy is a leader. He's Christ-driven, was a fun, nice teammate. But, man, it was tough because, Tim was young. Really couldn't get the ball down the field like he's supposed to.
Right.
We had a defense. I give a lot of credit to our defense guys. Our defense
Absolutely.
coordinator and the guys that played defense that year because we had to keep games close. We knew we had a young quarterback. We knew we had a guy we just kept it this close. At some point in the game, in the fourth quarter, this guy was going to find a way to get us in the end zone, to help us win the football game. And that just really Tim Tebow in a nutshell. That's what he did for your team. A pure leader, a pure field general, and it was just a great year for the Denver Broncos overall.
All right, I got to ask this, Mario. Did it ever seem like divine intervention sometimes during those games? Because y'all had the craziest comebacks that year with the Denver Broncos and Tebow and those where y'all just played like trash. The offense played like trash.
Hell yeah, there was divine intervention. What do you mean?
I mean, was it one of those things where you were in the car after the game or in the locker room like, okay, God really won that game. Tim didn't win it. God came and blessed him, and we made the play. I mean, what was that like? I mean, were you able to sit there like, okay, God, thank you for everything you've given me in my life and today's win? I mean, what was going through your head?
Tim Tebow. Okay, take you through a scenario in practice. We go through a scenario in practice where Tim Tebow in 7-on-7 throws 15 passes and completes 2. All right, completes 2. Okay, let's just hear this out. If you remember earlier in the season, we beat a Kansas City Chiefs team by completing 2 passes.
Wow.
We completed 2 passes, and we beat a Kansas City Chiefs team in Kansas City. Demaryius Thomas and Eric Decker, our young receivers. Those were the only 2 passes caught. So to think about what it was like in that locker room when you see that in some games, or you see that in practice, and then you go out and see the Tim Tebow that shows up on Sunday, the guy that never gives up, right? So hell yeah, that was divine intervention. Let me give you listen. We had non-Hall of Famer Brian Dawkins, right? Who one of the greatest players and greatest men I've ever been around, hand down. Just a great, phenomenal person. And what you saw on the football field, he exemplified as a man off the field leader. So imagine having Tim, who's a big religious guy, having Brian Dawkins, a huge religious guy, and we pray in the shower before and after the game. So imagine having those 2 guys on the team, man. It was like scenes from Braveheart. You know what I mean?
I bet.
I mean, it was just some of the best stuff. And Tim gave us a speech one night. We were in San Diego getting ready to play the Chargers. And Foxy, John Fox, we called him Foxy, called him up. And he gave Tim the mic. He was our captain and obviously the starting quarterback at that point, and gave him the mic. And Tim gave us our devotion and night before the game speech. And when I tell you, my body was full of goosebumps from the way that man got up there and talked to us. I believe that 10 o'clock that night, we could have played 32 teams in a row and beaten them all just by the speech that Tim Tebow gave us, and the motivation and the passion and everything that he had and what he was talking to us, it was really, really, really fun to be around Tim Tebow.
So, Mario, hold that thought because we are up against our first break, and when we come back, we are going to dive further into your playing career there at Mississippi State and then jump back to the NFL. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show right here on Tide 100.9. Do you currently have a bass fishing lake, but you're not happy with the size of bass that are coming out of the lake? Springtime is the perfect time to stock your lake with fish that will help you grow larger bass. Currently, right now, from Honey Hole Fisheries, they can offer threadfin shad, copper-nosed bluegill, minnows, golden shiners, and tilapia to help grow larger bass in your lake. You can contact Honey Hole Fisheries at 205-799-0192. Once again, that is 799-0192. Honey Hole Fisheries also offers Texas Hunter fish feeders. Contact him today to grow bigger bass in your dream lake.
Welcome back, Tuscaloosa and SEC fans. You're listening to Todd 100.9. We got former All-SEC linebacker and longtime NFL player Mario Haggan with us. And Mario, looking back, I want to ask you one last question before in the first segment we were talking about your time with the Denver Broncos, but that crazy overtime win in the playoffs against the Steelers.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that game?
Yeah, it was exhilarating. I mean, it was exciting. It was a tight game. A really good, well-coached Pittsburgh Steelers football team. But obviously, you know what we remember the most? Demaryius Thomas, Tim Tebow, the catch, right?
The first play of overtime.
First play of overtime. And obviously, I think it was the first year, if I remember correctly, the first year of the overtime rule. That if you score first, then you win the game. And so when you're watching the play, and Pittsburgh had called what we call an all-out blitz, cover zero. And so all Demaryius had to do was make one guy miss. And obviously, Tim made the right read. Demaryius caught the ball, and how big that guy was, 225 pounds, to see him run with that kind of speed and pull away from that Pittsburgh secondary was awesome to see. But what you might not really know, we didn't even know we won the game. Because you got to remember, that was the first year of the overtime rule. Yeah. So everybody's on the sideline looking like, what the hell do we do? Like, what's going on? And then somebody had to say, oh, we won. And next thing you know, if you watch the tape, you'll see us just come off the sideline and celebrate and still puzzled up if we really, really won or not. So that was probably outside of the play, got to take away from the play, but that was probably one of the most memorable situations of team full of professionals not even really knowing that they won the game.
Is that the loudest you've ever heard a stadium in your life?
Oh, hell no, man. LSU. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
You're not the first person to say that.
Oh, Jesus. You talk about loud. Those people in the bayou know how to rock a team. I tell you that.
Yeah. Now, the most joyous you've ever felt after a game, was it that overtime game, or do you remember another one where because you didn't know if you won or not? So what's the most joyous you've ever felt on the football field?
Man, I don't know. I played so many. I was so serious at times about games, so I can't really pinpoint one that just it comes to my mind right now. But of course, it always felt good to beat Ole Miss. I mean, hell, who didn't feel good? So the times we beat them obviously were great moments in my football career. So if I just had to pick one, it would be anytime we beat the team from Oxford.
You know, I just thought about this, Mario. I was at the game, but I remember watching the replay. And Steven, I'll let you take over. Mario, I got 1,000 questions, and I got to duck out. But I remember you put a hit on Eli Manning in the Egg Bowl. I remember it was in the second half, and I caught this. You know where I'm going with this. You know exactly where I'm going with this. And you put a hit on Eli Manning, and it showed Archie up in the stands with his little cap on and his little headphones. And he hops up, and the cap and the headphones are coming off, and he's pointing at you, and you can read his lips. You son of a gun, biscuit eater. He didn't say those words, but you know what he said. And looking back at that, I'm sure it makes you laugh, but I didn't think it was a dirty hit. I thought it was a clean hit. I just thought, he can just be a little extra physical with your boy. He just giving him the business here. What do you remember about that? And did you laugh when you saw that replay?
Listen, it brings joy to my heart to know that I made a dad in the stands upset with me being physical with his son. Look, my whole job is to find out who the backup quarterback is, right?
Right.
And that's it. That's it. And did I plan it to be dirty? No. It was a blitz called by Coach Dunn. Rest in peace. But, man, I was just trying to get the quarterback on the ground, whether it's Eli Manning, Cooper Manning, or hell, even if I had a chance to hit little Arch Manning, it didn't matter. My job is to get the quarterback on the ground, and that's what I was trying to do. So, yeah, I have pure joy and respect at the same time that Archie had to call me out of my name because I hit his baby boy.
That's great. I'm going to leave on this one, and I'll let Steven take over the show. What was your favorite Joe Lee Dunn moment? I know it had to be something at practice because I heard stories from you and other guys back when I was a student and I was a young reporter when Coach Dunn was still there. But I heard so many hilarious stories about Coach Dunn in practice. What's one that comes to mind that just made everyone just die laughing on the field? Because it happened almost every day.
Oh, man, I tell you what, it's a little bit long-winded, but we were in practice one day, and Connor Stevens and I were lining up at linebacker. And he was really, kind of to me, but it was okay. And Coach Melvin Smith said, man, look at those two big linebackers. Nobody should be able to run on us. And Coach Dunn said, oh, shit, Marion ain't going to do a damn thing. And I'm looking at Coach Dunn like, really, man? I'm standing right here, right? Come on, give me a break. But that was just Coach Dunn in a nutshell. It wasn't necessarily to say that I couldn't play. It was to motivate me because he knew I would be a big part of the defense end of that year. And that was my first year starting, and it ended up being a pretty awesome first year starting. Mario,
enjoy the rest of the show with Steven. And with that, please come back very soon. I got a trillion more questions, but I got a feeling you got a tons more stories for Steven. Everyone, y'all have a great time. Thank you, SEC fans in Tuscaloosa. Steven, the show and floor is yours, brother. Take care, Mario.
You, and enjoy it and have a great one, Heath, my friend.
Thank you, sir. See you.
All right. So, Mario, I've got to ask you, man, we are right here, and today was the end of a big event up in Nashville. They have it every year. It is called SEC Media Days. You had the opportunity to experience that back in 2002. Give us your experience of when you got to go to SEC Media Days, please.
Oh, it was super cool experience. Obviously, at that time, I had been named All SEC prior to, was preseason on the preseason board and everything. And I had seen many guys go before me, Fred Smoot and other guys go down to the SEC Media Days. And it was something I always wanted, was cool with representing my team. It was a big honor to go because they felt like you were a leader of a team, captain, obviously a major player in the SEC. So going down there, tons of questions. At that point, you learn how to handle yourself as a professional, so to speak, because you have to be careful not to give bulletin board material. You have to be careful not to give game plans. You have to be careful of respecting your opponent. So it was fun. It was it was fun. It was a big learning experience, more so than anything, learning how to be a professional and understanding things that you say and what you say now can and will hunt you if you say the wrong things at those SEC Media Days. Obviously, a lot has changed with social media and the way they treat players and the NIL and things like that. Steven, man, I think I could rewind time, and I'd like to see how it is today with all the social media. Man, I think it'll be a really, really fun and a 10 times more memorable experience nowadays.
So, Mario, if you can, what was the craziest question that you ever got asked by a media member up there at Media Days?
Dude, I mean, I didn't get a lot of dumb questions. I think my personality speaks for itself. But, I mean, a lot of people, some people that, do you think you guys can win this year? What the hell you mean? Yeah, I don't play this game to lose.
Right.
What the hell do you mean? So that probably might, when you talk about dumb, that probably was the dumbest question I've ever gotten asked.
Gotcha. And so, what was it like, the experience of being the team and especially the player to represent Mississippi State?
It's something that I don't forget today. I mean, you asked that question and I got goosebumps because I now understand how privileged I was to be able to go down there with Coach Sherrill, Coach Dunn, and Justin Griffiths, who's still a good friend of mine. We were both representatives down there at SEC Media Days. I can't remember who a third person was. But, man, it was definitely an honor, something I still hold near and dear because at that point in my career, I was getting ready to leave, be a senior. We were coming off a losing season, trying to revamp this team. And so it was definitely an honor. I think that's the big thing. I say honor. It really was to be a representative, not only of Mississippi State, but my family in the state of Mississippi.
So, Mario, hold that thought because we are up against yet another break. And when we come back, we are going to dive further into your playing career there at Mississippi State. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show right here on Tide 100.9. Be back in just a second.
Spring is blooming at Tuscaloosa Farmers Co-op, your one-stop shop for everything you need to grow healthy plants all season long. Come explore our fully stocked garden center featuring trusted names like High Yield and Fertiloom. And don't miss our Bonnie Plant Sale happening now through May. It's the perfect time to stock up on quality vegetables, herbs, and flowers. Whether you're planting a backyard garden or prepping your fields, Tuscaloosa Farmers Co-op has the tools, knowledge, and products to help you grow. Come see us, 4301 McFarland Boulevard, or call us, 205-339-8181.
Welcome back inside the Stingray Show, and if you are joining late, I do need to mention that this is the second air of an episode that we first aired in July of 23, and we had forgotten about it. So here is our continuation of our interview with Mario Haggan from Mississippi State University. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show right here on Tide 100.9. I am your host, Stephen Ray, and Heath Hopkins, my co-host, did the first two segments with us. However, he had to duck out to do some business. So I am here, and I'm going to finish the show with our guest this evening, Mr. Mario Haggan, who played over at Mississippi State. And Mario, your first action there at Mississippi State came in 1998. What do you remember most about your first game in a Mississippi State uniform?
Well, it was the first time I dressed out. It was the kick against Arkansas.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty darn amazing.
Yes.
And it was the one, Brian, he kicked, listen, oh my God, the kick, it goes up, they snap it, it goes up, and it hits the upright and goes in.
Yes.
And at that moment, we are going to the SEC championship game in my freshman year. Now, my uniform didn't get dirty that game because I wasn't playing. Right. But I was there in a uniform. It was a lot of fun. I think that's probably one of the most memorable games. I know I was there for the kick in 2000. But man, that one that propelled us into the SEC championship game, man, I think that kick was the best. It was two kicks in history of Mississippi State. That one was the best.
Right. Now, you just mentioned it. You guys got to the SEC championship game there in 1998. Even though you did not win the SEC championship game, what was that experience like for you, especially with you being such a young player?
It set a standard, man. When I was there, you had guys like Tim Nelson, you had Randy Thomas, Anthony Derrick, a ton of guys, Rob Morgan, who were just great leaders. Yes. And coming onto that campus, Mississippi State had been in some dog years in the previous years prior to me getting there a couple of years. Coach Sherrill was building that program up, and they had beaten some Alabama and some Auburn teams that were fairly good at the moment. And so to come in as a freshman and kind of see something of what Coach Sherrill and Coach Tompkins and Coach Dunn was promising us that we would see, to see it immediately. Oh, it was an amazing feeling. It made me hungry to want to be the football player to get that team back to the SEC championship game. We came close a bit. I didn't quite get that done, but those guys set a great example and set the standard and set the mood for what Mississippi State football is. It should be like, and I think kind of what it's been on and off for, better half of a decade or so now.
Yes, sir. So let's go on ahead and quickly move to the 99 season. And that year, you guys ended the regular season when Mississippi State played in the famous Egg Bowl game called the Pick the Kick. Walk us through that unbelievable ending of that football game, please.
Oh, man, I tell you what. We ran two defenses at that time. Coach Dunn would call it a 33 package and a split package.
Yes.
And first off, Deuce McAllister carrying the ball 42 times and just running it down our throat. And we're able to bend but not break type of defense. And I think the drive before, Wayne Mackin found C.J. Sermon in the end zone. Rest in peace, C.J. Yeah. But they found C.J. Sermon, and I think the game that tied the game up, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the score. I know the kick won. I don't quite remember the score. But they're driving. Ole Miss is driving, and I think they throw the ball down the sideline to Grant Hurd. And then you see Robert Dean go up for the ball and kick it. And Eugene Clinton catches it, and you're like, oh, my God. What is about to happen, right? What is about to happen? And they go and they run, and he's going down the sideline. Eugene's going down the sideline, and you're like, is he going to score? But at that moment, the stadium is rocking. I'm talking about, listen, they could tear down Rome at that moment, the way the stadium is rocking. I'm serious, man. And for us to go out and Scott Westerfield to go out and make that kick and just beat Ole Miss after the type of season we had. Remember, we started off 8-0.
Yes.
And we go down to Tuscaloosa, and in a game, I still feel like they cheated us. I still like they cheated us on the pig paper punt return. We had an opportunity to score. They called it back. That would have given us, we were ranked in the top 10 in that game, and we would have really, I think, gotten back to the SEC championship in that game, Sting. But then we go down to Arkansas, and I'm on the field, and we get another interception called back. Fred Smoot returns it for a touchdown, and we're about to win the game. And I'm running downfield, and one of the guys pushed me in the back. And I fall at the heels of another Arkansas offensive player, and the ref throws the flag and calls a touchdown back. And I tell you, Jackie Sherrill and Jolie Dunn ripped me like 10 new ones, Sting. Right. I kid you not. And my mom called me and said, they can't talk to you like that. I said, I made them promise that when they see the film, they'll apologize to me. So to set that up, we lost 2 pivotal games prior to winning that football game. And so to almost be undefeated and a lock for an SEC championship berth, and to lose 2 games, then come back and beat your rival, I don't think there's a better feeling than that.
So, Mario, a quick follow-up to that. How did you personally celebrate the Pick the Kick Egg Bowl win?
Man, I went home and went to sleep. I was tired, Steve. I went home and went to sleep. What else are you supposed to do? Because when you're business-like, man. You're business-like. Of course, I had my roommates at the time. We celebrated and hung out. But, man, we had to get up the next day and do film. Family, that was during Thanksgiving, right? And so I don't even know if I went home that weekend, right? We hung out. I think we went to practice. We watched the game. Remember, we're getting ready. We still got a bowl game, and it's still business-like. So I don't think I celebrated at all, man. I was just ready to continue to play football, get ready for what was the Peach Bowl. We actually were waiting for a bowl berth. I think that was the biggest deal. Trying to figure out what we were going to do for what bowl berth we were going to get.
Yes. So let's move to the 2000 season. You had your only score on defense, a 27-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown versus South Carolina. Walk us through that play as you remember it, please.
Man, I tell you what, I remember we were about to shift. We were about to audible out of that defense based on the formation. And so it was my job actually to get us out of that defense. And I didn't do such a good job of getting us out that defense. But I remember the ball being snapped. Derek Washington, who was an amazing running back in South Carolina, they handed the ball off to him. I just remember Ellis Williams and Dorsett Davis busting through the line. And they tackle him, and I see the ball on the ground stain. And all I do is just pick it up and run. And I just feel Fred Smoot talking about, go, 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 go. Don't stop, big head. He used to call me Big Head. Don't stop, Big Head. And so, Fred Smoot, he's the one of the best teammates, more fun teammate you ever have on a team. And so he just rooted for me to go. And so I'm running. And after it feels like take years for me to run that 27 yards, man, because it's hot. We just played about 40, 50 plays, man. So it was a great feeling to get my first ever college score. It was fun, man. It was definitely a big deal. I think it's still one of the plays that is replayed a lot in Mississippi State history.
Yes. And so how did the players celebrate with you on the sideline after that huge fumble recovery touchdown?
Oh, man, they knocked the wind out of me. Everybody's high-fiving, chest bumping, and I'm still trying to catch my breath.
Yes.
And knowing that if you know anything about, obviously you know about football, listen, we have to go right back out on the field.
Oh, yes.
We just scored. They kicked the field goal, and I kicked the extra point, and then kick off, and next thing you know, in about 40 seconds, you got to go right back on the field. So, guys, leave me the hell alone. Let me catch my breath and get ready to go back on the field.
Right.
That's pretty much how that series of event goes.
Gotcha. All right, so hold that thought because we are up against our last break, and when we come back, I'm going to talk with Mario about one of my favorite Mississippi State games. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show right here on Tide 100.9. Be back in just a little bit. Strange Brew Coffee House continues to roll out brand new drinks, including the Yosemite, which is white chocolate and roasted marshmallow. Doesn't that sound amazing? You can find Strange Brew at 1101 University Boulevard right there on the Strip at the University of Alabama campus. And hey, did you know that you can get Strange Brew delivered to your door? Check out strangebrewcoffeehouse.com for all the Strange Brews bags of coffee, K-cups, mugs, shirts, and a whole lot more right there at strangebrewcoffeehouse.com. Welcome back inside of our last segment right here on Tide 100.9. Our guest this evening is Mario Haggan, the former Mississippi State defender. And so, Mario, I've got to ask you, one of my absolute all-time favorite Mississippi State games was in the Independence Bowl between the Maroon and White versus the Maroon and White of Mississippi State versus Texas A&M in the Snow Bowl. First off, I've got to ask you, Mario, did y'all have any idea that it was going to snow during that game?
Not 1 ounce of knowledge that was going to happen.
Right.
Listen, Stephen, you got to understand, it was decent outside. It was football weather.
Yes.
We pull up to the stadium. We're getting our stuff, and we're in there. And it's clear as day outside. In a matter of 2 hours, the field is covered. We're getting dressed. I remember getting taped. And then they said, Paul Mock taping me up. They said, you're dressed kind of light. I'm like, what do you mean? They said, it's a blizzard outside. I said, what the hell you mean a blizzard outside? I go out. And it is snow freaking white. That was the fastest turnaround or change of weather that I've ever seen in my entire life, man.
Yes.
And so I'm looking like I've never played in snow before at this moment. I've never played in snow before. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. So I think it was the only time I ever wore sleeves in a game. That's how cold it was. And I prided myself throughout my whole career never to wear sleeves. I think that was the only time I ever wore sleeves in a football game. And listen, it was cold. Very, very cold, Steve.
So, Mario, you just talked about it. South, we don't often play in the snow. Most of the snow games you see are out west or up north. Please explain to everybody what it was like having to deal with playing in the snow during that Independence Bowl, please.
Oh, it was one. You don't know how to run the traction,
Yes.
right? The traction was bad, and so now the total game plan changes from a passing team to a running team, and they had a combination of both. Robert Ferguson was their big time receiver at the moment, and Jamar Tune was their big and big time running back at the time. And so at this moment, as a linebacker, you understand that it's about to be a big day for you. The ball's going to be on the ground. They're going to run the ball. The ball could possibly be on the ground, and so you have to be on your A game, get your reads, and you're going to be a really, really, really huge part of your team winning the game, man. And so that's what changes. Like the elements dictate how offenses run the offensive game plan, and not only the opponent's offensive game plan, but your team's offensive game plan. And so you understand it could be a close game, and as a defensive player, you know every play is pivotal in you winning that football game, and that's pretty much how it turned out.
So let's move to your senior season. You had the opportunity to open the 2002 season on the road in what was then known as the Pac-10 versus Oregon up there in Eugene. Not many SEC players get that opportunity to play in Eugene, Oregon. What was that experience like for you? And what do you remember most about that Oregon game in 2002?
Oh man, what I remember most, and it's a tough subject to bring up, but there was a deal where our starting quarterback at the time wasn't traveling with us. Kevin Fan at the moment, and some stuff had happened, whatever they ended up at that. So we have to, as a senior and a team captain and a leader, I have to get a young quarterback in Cal York ready to go.
Yeah.
I have to talk to him. His nerves are just off the chain. And at that moment, it goes back to like the snowball. You can't as a leader show weakness. So now I got to go to my defensive guys and say, look, this game is on us. Like, we got a young quarterback. He's gonna be nervous. He's gonna be scared. It's gonna be all of those things. And so it raised my level of play, so to speak, in my mind. I had not only had to be a leader for the offense, but I also had to make sure the whole team is rallying behind Cal York, because we know there's going to be some tough time. They have Kellen Clemens, who's a good quarterback. They have Ontario Smith, who's one of the top running back. They have a ton of defensive players that are ended up playing in the NFL. So it was just one of those things, man, to start the season, Stephen. It was like, what the hell are we going to do going up here way thousands of miles to Eugene, Oregon? You see all the Nike stuff. They got great players. I just had to take a deep breath, man. And luckily, the game didn't go too bad. We didn't win it, but I think we played as best as we could with the situation that we had going up to Eugene, and we put up a pretty good fight. Just came out much more short than we planned to.
And my final question for you is hopefully going to be a funny one. Could you please share with us your favorite Coach Jackie Sherrill moment?
Oh, man. Jackie Sherrill. Let's see. He's a good guy. I talked to him last about 9 months ago, still keep in contact. Jackie is a truly good coach. You love him to death. I don't know if I have a funny moment. Jackie, he was serious about his special team and things like that. And I think the one thing Jackie said when he stepped in front of, I think it was my junior year, and he got up in front of the team, and he may have said, hey, I think some of you guys are retired and hadn't even told me about it. That's how, because we were playing, I think we were on a 3-game losing streak, and guys were just not doing the thing that they were supposed to on and off the field. And Coach Sherrill was fed up with it. It was just funny because you know what a retired person does. They quit. They stop. They don't do anything. And so he was just saying that we look like a team that's retired. And so I think that was probably one of the funniest moments from Jackie Sherrill. Now, we got plenty of players that had a lot of funny moments.
Right. So, Mario, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite stories of Jackie Sherrill that I heard. We interviewed Matt Wyatt on the show a couple of years ago, and Matt Wyatt told a story about Coach Sherrill and the time that they went up to Tennessee. And the Volunteers in Tennessee, they were really good back then. and behind the Mississippi State benches, they had speakers to pipe in extra crowd noise. And, the players were worried about that being a distraction. Coach Sherrill says, hey, don't you worry about those speakers. So as soon as they turn the speakers on, Jackie Sherrill gets a couple of wire cutters and goes and clips the line to the speakers, turns to the players and said, I told you not to worry about those speakers.
Oh, I've never heard that story. That's pretty cool. I like that. Jackie, that's actually gangster by Jackie. I like that.
Yes.
Okay. So that says a lot about Coach Sherrill's personality, man. He's all business. He's going to fight for his guys. He's a player's coach. He's one of the best coaches I've ever played for.
Yes, sir. So, Mario, look, man, thank you so much for this awesome interview. And before we let you go, please let everybody know where they can follow you on social media.
You know what, Stingray? I don't have a lot of social media, man. I ain't into it much. I got a couple pages, but I'm slow to interact. But if you can find me at Haggan 57, Mario Haggan 57 on Twitter, that's about it, man. That's where you find me at. I'm busy raising my kids and just trying to make sure my body and mind is good on the daily.
Gotcha. And so, is there anything else that you would like to give a shout out to, my friend?
Man, the whole Mississippi State fan base, everybody who loved the maroon and white, man. Listen, you guys were great to me while I was there. You're great to me whenever I come back. And you're great for the kids that are there now. You're the past, the present, and the future. I love you. Hail State, go Dogs.
Yes, sir. And my last little bit for you before we get out of here, when you make it back to Starkville, give us a couple of places that you like to go and have dinner at.
All right. Hey, you know I love to eat, baby. So, we'll definitely do that, Stephen. Hey, man, thank you for having me on the show. I had fun, and I look forward to coming back.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and we will definitely do it again, my friend.
All right. Peace.
So that was Mario Haggan, the former Mississippi State Bulldog. And speaking of Mississippi State, the Diamond Dogs come to Tuscaloosa Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for a 3-game series against your Alabama Crimson Tide. And tomorrow evening on Thursday, we're going to be joined by Steve Robertson, host of the Boneyard, to get his take on Mississippi State and their baseball team. And we will also be joined by Chris Lee of Southeastern 16 to do a deep dive into the other big-time SEC baseball games this weekend. We will catch you tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. right back here for a preview of Alabama, Mississippi State on the Diamond. Catch you then.